Cinema Sewer is one of my favorite movie anything. This zine, technically, by Robin Bougie, is just a cavalcade of amazing movie stuff. And the gimmick is that it's all drawn by him. Right from the get-go, he uses real images, but he also does little cartoons. It was all hand lettered, and it was just the personality of the creator that just is throughout all of it. I was always excited to grab every new issue. I own all of the volumes that are currently published by Fab Press, and after 25 years, Robin has finally decided, I don't want to do Cinema Sewer anymore. And that's understandable. That's a very long run. It's a very complicated book to put together, full of reviews, interviews, musings, and I was sad because I didn't know what he was going to do next. Enter a little zine called Gutter Hunter, essentially in the exact same style as Cinema Sewer, with the big difference here being that it's about independent comics. Now, Cinema Sewer was always a very personal zine, that it was really everything that interested Robin he would write about. And in Gutter Hunter, you have that squared, that it's even more so that. And unlike movies that he talked about in the previous one, Gutter Hunter is all about comics, specifically Outlaw comics, which is a term that was created by, at least I think it was created or popularized by the guys that do Comic Kayfabe, an amazing YouTube channel that I'm currently ripping off the camera setup. The difference between their videos and this one is that they like to go through comic books page by page and kind of describe, their thoughts, their interpretation of the creative thing that the artist is doing. And unfortunately, in Gutter Hunter, I don't want to go page by page because I want you to buy this. It is an amazing book. Probably my favorite magazine of the year. And I got the first two, but I can't show the cover of the second one because there's nudity on it. And currently, I am on YouTube, and that would get me banned. And also, because of that, I had to mark up pages where there is no nudity. So if you aren't aware of Cinema Sewer, you've never read it before, and you want to get Gutter Hunter, be aware that Robin Bougie, he is a big porn guy. He loves pornography. He loves talking about it, doing essays about it. Not in a gross or exploitative way. He is very aware of that stuff, but in a way that he's just sharing his enjoyment of these things. So if you are in public reading these and someone looks over your shoulder, they may be a little bit shocked, but who cares? They're not going to say anything to you, and you can just enjoy it. So just like Cinema Sewer, this is a dense book, filled with doodles, images, essays, but I would say even more than Cinema Sewer, this is pure Robin, in the sense that every essay in this book is about a comic that he found and wanted to know more information about. He's interviewing creators that he knows, some of them that aren't known by anyone unless you're in his circle of friends in Vancouver, because there is one article in this that is amazing, that has an amazing comic book art from a guy that does a comic every couple of years. It's very graphic, but it looks hilarious, and he only does like a couple of copies of them. He doesn't go to any conventions, doesn't sell them online. And this is the stuff I love, that Robin's able to shine a light on these creators. Comics, unlike movies, is a very solitary effort, especially for independent artists like this. You don't need a team to make a comic book. It helps if you get inkers, letterers, colorists, but most of these are black and white, self-published, that have completely fallen through the cracks and can only be found in those dime to dollar bins in comic book stores. And the people picking them up probably don't even know that maybe only 100 to 1,000 copies exist. And Robin is all about centering the light on these creators. And it starts right from the get-go with a great explanation of the cover, that it was a comic book shop that Robin knew, and that the person on the cover is actually an amalgamation of a bunch of clerks that he knew. Yeah, this is great personal stuff. Robin is an amazing cartoonist. I love any strip that he has. And right when I cracked this open, I was super excited. It was just an extension of Cinema Sewer. There are multiple lengthy articles in the book, but then you also get something like this that explains how a Wally Wood comic can be found everywhere. That somehow, in 2005, 70,000 copies showed up. And what's funny is that after reading this article, the next day I went to a comic book shop, and yep, this was in the bins, that they had a bunch of Heroes Incorporated presents canon. This little anecdote is really interesting in the sense that it explains kind of worth when it comes to comic, that a lot of these comics that are listed in this book aren't really worth that much because they're very difficult to get. and no one really cares that much. I'd be curious to know that since this has come out, if it has changed for a lot of the artists that are mentioned in this, because Robin points out he just picked these up out of the long boxes in his local comic book shops. But once people go looking for these, is it going to be much more difficult to get your hands on them because now everybody is looking for these? You've got articles where Robin just talks about a very odd comic book. He kind of deconstructs it, tries to find any background of the people that made it. He describes it, which usually plot synopses, I go, oh, no, thank you. But Robin just has a way that feels conversational. It's just a delight to hear him discuss this comic book, which most people probably will never be able to read. And he finds joy there in just describing the story and trying to give a little bit of context of the people that made it. There are humorous articles in this book, there are funny articles in this book, and there are also very moving articles. For example, Robin hunting down a artist that had done, fanzines. He had also done some pornographic work, but nobody really knew who he was. And it wasn't until Robin went looking that he was able to discover that Randy W. Clark had done more stuff than he imagined, and that it was really detailed, really imaginative. Nobody ever talks about this guy, but Robin was able to find this information, make an article about it, and make it a celebration of this creative's life, who probably had not had anything like that before. What I really hope throughout these issues is that companies like Drawn and Quarterly and Fantagraphs, or maybe even some more independent ones, discover these articles, hunt these comics down, and we get reprints of them, because there's so many that sound amazing. And unfortunately, I can't imagine ever getting my hands on them because they are so tough to hunt down. This interview right here, I wish I could show you a better page than the last one, but unfortunately it's about an artist that mostly did lesbian comics, some of the most popular during the 90s, and it's an interview with his daughter, and it's just Robin and this man's daughter discuss what was the creative process, what he wanted in his life, what her experiences were with her father. It's just so much fun, so insightful. And I'm not even lying that more than one article, like a little tear formed in my eye while I was reading it, because I found it so moving that these people who had never had any spotlight shined on them, suddenly they had a whole article by someone that was super passionate and just wanted to bring all of their best qualities to life. I wish I could show you more. I wish I could just flip through and talk about my favorite articles. Unfortunately, again, filled with nudity, which will not fly on YouTube. So you just need to buy this. It is available on Robin's store. You just buy it directly from him. He will send you an amazing envelope filled with stamps and drawings that he did himself. $12, that is an absolute steal. And if you get this one, you have to get the second one too. They're both available on his shop. I would recommend picking them up now. This is the thing I'm probably going to be looking forward to the most. I hope Robin's able to put one out every year. I'm shocked I had never heard about it until a couple of weeks ago, but now I know, and now I'm going to recommend it to everyone that I can. Gutter Hunter, pick it up. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel wherever it is around here, because I'm hoping to do more regular videos than I have been doing recently. I hear that if you make more YouTube videos, you get more views. So that's what I'm trying to do, and this is why I have this different format, and I'm hoping to have different formats like this as we go along. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.